Dear audience, Assalamu alaikum. A gracious welcome to you all on the quarterfinals of the very first inter-school English debate competition organized by Bangladesh Television Chattogram Center. The purpose of debating is to express yourself clearly to those around you with persuasive arguments. It aims to help you refine and hone your ideas to be more acceptable to those listening. Debating encourages students to question their beliefs and justify the way that they think. Questioning encourages more critical thinking, and by using the power of speech, they can easily persuade one another. Isn't that what leaders do? Yes, dear audience. Debate is the baseline for creating future leaders, and I really hope it reflects that well on the debaters present here today. On that very good note, I, your host, Prapunti Chakraborty, would love to welcome you to come along and watch our very lively debate competition participated by 2 competed teams. Today, the selected motion for the debate competition is: universities should only teach subjects that have a regular trend of high percentage of employability. The team for the motion belongs to Mainamati English School and College, Cumilla. The team against the motion belongs to Mymensingh Girls Cadet College, Mymensingh. Speakers for the motion are Artrushil Arnob, Tashin Ahmed Shishir, Maisha Tasneem. Speakers against the motion are Cadet Ajrin, Cadet Rafa, Cadet Tajriya. The honorable adjudicators of today's session are Tawhid Hussain, former president, East-West University Debate Club and senior business reporter and news presenter, Jamuna TV. Abdullah Muhammad Shukrana, president, Bangladesh Debate Federation. Shabir Shah, founder and CEO, Chittagong Live. The topics on which our honorable judges are going to assign marks in the constructive round are Presentation 5, Language and Pronunciation 10, Presentation of Theory and Information 15, Argumentation and Rebuttal 10. The topics on which our honorable judges are going to assign marks in the rebuttal round are Presentation 5, Language and Pronunciation 5, Argumentation and Rebuttal 20. Dear viewers, now I would love to introduce you to our honorable moderator of today's competition, who would be conducting the entire debate and announce the results at the end. The honorable moderator of today's competition is Professor Dr. Iftikaruddin Chaudhary, educationist and former Vice Chancellor, University of Chittagong. Now, I would most humbly like to request you, sir, to come up on the stage and take your seat. Before we start the debate, I would like to inform you about the order and time allocation of each debater. Each debater will get 5 minutes to present his or her speech. An alarming bell will ring on the 4th minute and the final bell will ring on the 5th minute. In the rebuttal round, both the team leaders will get 2 minutes each. Alarming bell will ring on 1.5 minutes and the final bell will ring on the 2nd minute. Dear audience, before getting on to the competition, I would give you a friendly reminder that from now onwards, you can not only watch our episodes on your television set, but also on Facebook and YouTube. Tune in on facebook.com/btvchattogram and www.youtube.com/@btvchattogram. Now, I would most humbly like to request our honorable moderator to preside over the competition and start the debate.
It's my immense pleasure and proud privilege to welcome all of you, including our respected judges, participants and viewers, to this first inter-school English debate competition 2013. This is quarter round final and organized by Bangladesh Television Chattogram Center. The topic of today's debate is universities should only teach subjects that have a regular trend of high percentage of employability. Today we have with us, for the motion is Mainamati English School and College, Cumilla, and against the motion we have Mymensingh Girls Cadet College. Now I'd like to invite The first speaker, Orithro Shil Arnav, to present his deliberations for the motion.
The economy is the start and end of everything. You can't have a strong economy unless you have a skilled amount of people to make it, said by David Coleman. Honorable Moderator, respected judges, and fellow opponents, Assalamu alaikum and a very good afternoon. Honorable Moderator, we are living in a country that is ranked 8th in the whole world in terms of population and 94th in terms of area. That is by, you have all to understand that our population is too much exceeded than in terms of area. Especially the young generation has increased after our war of independence. But please do not consider it as a demerit. We can use it as our biggest advantage. How will you use it? Let me show you in my speech. We can have a big breakthrough to this economy, but we are unable to employ this huge amount of resource of humans. That is created unemployment rate by 15.60%. We can use this human resource for which we are facing an economic crisis like less of GDP and bank disruption, etc. We can focus on the skill-based education, not only being dependent on books. Books have made our brain stuck in one position, whereas skills have made us to gain dependency on other skills as well. Students are not getting jobs to participate as they are not getting the desired subject to study on. For example, let me narrate you a true incident that I've recently heard. A student who has studied engineering recently has applied for a job after completing his course for 4 to 6 years. But when he got the results, he was not selected. Why? Because there was no vacancy of seat. Alongside him, hundreds of students just gave the tender for that, only one top of the got it. But what will happen to the other students? We just can't throw them off the back. For that, we need to create a skill-based education so that each and every student of our country can get employment. All the students of our country should be able to compete globally with other participants of the world, but none of us are able to do it. Why? The only reason is lack of skill-based education. In these circumstances, today the topic of our debate is universities should only teach subjects that have a regular trend of high percentage of employability. So first of all, I would like to proceed to define the key points of today's topic. At first, universities. Today we'll talk only about universities. We all know that in each public university, there is a limitation of making students skilled. The authority never takes steps to make the students capable of job opportunities. Now, subject means acquiring efficiency on a specific skill or skill-based field. When he acquires a specific skill, he can get the employment after that. Today we'll talk about two kinds of skills. One is technical skill and the soft skill. Here I would like to mention that soft skill means communication, leadership, and network skills. And technical skill refers to digital literacy, data analysis, and coding. Today, we are not saying that the present education system is irrelevant or valueless, but we won't eliminate this from our education system. Rather, for focusing on the achievement goals of Vision 2041, we have to focus on the universities. They have to teach the subjects that are more relevant to the employment crisis of our country. Regular trend means that is going on at present worldwide, and high percentage of employability refers to the demand or the wanting of students after obtaining a specific skill. Today, we stand for the motion. We have set some parameters for today's debate. Number 1, ensuring a skill-based youth generation. Number 2, universities can play an effective role in achieving the economic growth. And number 3, achieving the goals of Vision 2041. I, as the first speaker of the supporting team, would like to explain the first parameter. The second speaker will explain the second parameter. And the third speaker will explain the third parameter and summarize the whole topic. So let's proceed to the first parameter, that is ensuring a skill-based generation. Honorable Speaker, as I've already mentioned in my earlier speech, the young generation of our country has increased a lot, for which the unemployment crisis has also arisen. But when will be a person employed in a country? He has to show his skills that I am worthy, I can do this job, I should be given the job. But for that he has to outclass his skills. Today we are living in a global village. People will be offered job only if they outclass their skills. They can join in a multinational company or a business firm by the judgment of their skills and the contribution of the economic development of a country. Even if they can't do something in our country, they can send revenue or remittance to our country by working abroad. Now we can ask me the question, how will they go abroad? For that, they also have to show the skill, the specific skill for why the abroad foreign country will take you for exchange of their abilities. For example, if a person is expert, has mastery of ICT skills, he can get job in a software-based company like Google, Microsoft, or Facebook. Let me give you a point of information that Microsoft has the second largest number of engineers working in it, and most of them are Indians. Another thing is Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google, Ananda Borga, the president of World Bank, Shantanu Narayan of Adobe, and many more. all of them are from Indian origins. How is it possible? Because they have outcased their skill. They have not been drowned in books all day long. They have focused and emphasized only one skill, and now they have been able to come to the top position at present. Otherwise, they won't be able to take in the top position without the showcasing of skills. Only because in every aspect of a country, a skilled person can contribute to it by focusing on the outskills of his country and then contribute to the economy of a country. And the goal that we're looking forward to become a developed country, to achieve it within 2041, we can't do it without the proper implementation of skill-based education. Now, when a person becomes skilled, he does not have to hanker after a job another because he gets the resignation of their study. Now, the opposition may say that we can obtain everything by following the education system at present. Then why did not get the results by now? Please answer the question to me after that. That's why we should all agree that universities should only teach subjects that have a regular trend, higher percentage employability. Thank you, Honorable Moderator. Thank you all.
Now I'd like to call upon Cadet Azreen, the first speaker, to make her presentation against the motion.
Behold, the future, where there is no singer, dancer, painter, scientist, or writers. Where you turn on the TV only to be horrified to see a doctor dancing with a skeleton? Well, this is exactly what's going to happen if my dearest opponents are serious with what they're saying. Honorable Moderator, Judicious Panel of Judges, thank you for giving me the floor. The motion of today's debate is, universities should only teach subjects that have a regular trend of high percentage of employability. While my esteemed opponents argue in favor of this motion, we firmly believe that this is not true and thus stand as today's opposition. Dear opponents, I do appreciate your efforts on how you try to depict the motion, but I'd really like to know, have you really understood what today's motion is? It never ever mentioned about social skills. Today's motion can be divided into three distinct concepts. Number one, universities and its aim, regular trend and high percentage of employability. Dearest opponents, universities are institutions that are designed to offer education to individuals who want to increase their knowledge on definite fields. And the aim of education is not to get a job, but to gain knowledge. Regular trends are meant to change. The trend of today may not remain the trend of tomorrow. Lastly, high percentage of employability, where employability refers to the knowledge or ability or degree for an employment. High percentage of employability means the degree or knowledge of those employments which are now highly demanded or preferable. According to NCE's report, top most popular or demanding subjects are social science, medical science, engineering, law, teaching, and so on. And today's motion clearly demonstrates to eliminate all the other subjects except the mentioned ones, which is in reality totally absurd and impossible to do so. So let me give you a practical example of why. Daily Star says only 1,11,222 students get to study medical science out of 7,39,217 students, and only 33% of students can make it into engineering. So what happens to the rest of the students who didn't get to chance in medical science? And what about the 77% students who didn't get to study about engineering? So dear opponents, if you're eliminating the other subjects, what will be their future? Now it's too late for them to change their subject, which makes it hard for them to get a job. So are you not leading our entire nation to the suffocation of unemployment, dear opponents? Where the rate of increase of unemployment in our country is already 4.09%. The BSMRAA or Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman Aviation and Aerospace University was built by the Bangladesh government quite recently, but we don't really have sectors for this job yet. Still, why did the Bangladesh government build a university to teach them aeronautical engineering, dear opponents? Because clearly we have a great opportunity of an absolutely amazing outcome of this subject. But if the government didn't even take the initiative to teach the subject, would we have even thought about the possibilities of my learned opponents? According to LinkedIn, 85% people over the countries are dissatisfied with their job, where 23% of them are quitting. Because when a student is forced to study a subject they don't like, he finds himself struggling with what he will make out of him. And even if he gets a job, he becomes less productive, less engaged, and at worst, he quits. Imagine a world where legends like Rabindranath, John Labidin, Einstein never came to be because they didn't get to study their subject because my dear superiors already eliminated them. What an irony, isn't it? In conclusion, I'd like to say that universities should not. Education needed to become a world-class person needs to be imparted in the university, which is not just job-oriented. And it's not justified to believe that universities should only teach subjects which are related to trendy jobs. Rather, it should provide a holistic education. And with the hope that my dear opponents will understand that what I presented today on this stage, for your sake, for our sake, and for the whole nation's sake, universities should not only teach subjects related to trendy jobs. With this, I conclude. Thank you all.
Now I like to invite our second speaker for the motion from Mainamati English School and College, Cumilla, Tasin Ahmed Shishir.
A skilled man is capable of undertaking a learned man, said by Sir Thomas Shelby. Honorable moderator, respected judges, and my fellow opponents, Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning. Today, our topic is we stand for universities should only teach subjects that have regular trend of big opportunities or percentage of employability. At first, giving the rebuttal of your speeches, where you mentioned about one, employment, economical loss. So just honorable moderator, just think you are going to a war without knowing without having any skills or knowing anything about your weapon. Will you fight against your enemies? Economy is that war and employment is that weapon. When a person is employed, then economy is improved. And when it comes to at least production, they said about the man who is getting employment has at least live the production, but they are at least productive and they work for some time for the economic development. And they said about Rabindranath Tagore and Kazi Nazrul Islam. For your kind information, learned opponents, that Kazi Nazrul Islam wasn't educated and Rabindranath was failed in his 6 standards and he left the schools. So what will you say? They hadn't have skills. They had skills, that is why they have become so famous and they are known to us. We get very much grammatical mistakes in their poems, but do we care? Because those grammars were changed after their death and our grammatical evolution is going on. Honorable moderator, as my first speaker has clarified about our first parameter, which was ensuring a skill-based use, so I am proceeding with the second one, which is universities plays an effective role in achieving goals and economic growth. Honorable moderator, universities and other higher education institutions have a critical role in being social achievement of SDG through leadership, research, teaching and learning, campus operation, and many more skills. A university provides skilled labor to local workforce and contributes to knowledge and technology of local business through faculty research and consulting. Honorable moderator, an alternative way of university impacts the local economy is through its operating expenditure. If we come, honorable moderator, in our country, the universities doesn't have proper facility management or investment for giving this skill-based training. So how will we get a skilled nation? Bangladesh has a huge amount of youth, and if we can properly train them in any specific skill, then they will shine bright in the world, said by artificial intelligence lead coach Sadman Sati. According to BBS, there are more than 45 million youth present in our country, which is 27.82% of our total population. Among them, 13.8% are still unemployed. So what will we do about them? Will we throw them out of our country? No, they are a youth. They are our resources. The Future Index states that Bangladesh lags behind in education based on skills and ranks 47 among 5 emerging nations in the worldwide education. Now, Honorable Speaker, why we will apply this skill-based education? The answer is economical growth. When it comes to economical growth, then it is worth mentioning that few months back, while the dollar price thrived in our country, it was the remittance center who are our skillful young living in abroad. They sent the remittance more than 21,301.68 million USD that control the downfall of our economy very much. There are many more jobs in global platform which can be easily done by any Bangladeshi, but he is not able to do for not having enough skills, said by our Education Minister, Dr. Dipu Muni. China. Isn't China a very developed country according to economically? But Honorable Moderator, you will be shocked to know that China has shuttered down all of its universities and colleges in 1966 to 1976, and it has earned an economical review just after the movement in 1978. According to Chinese trading commercial site, they earned more than 2.286 trillion USD in 2005, which was one of the most biggest revolutionary change in the history of economy. Honorable Moderator, if you look into any developed country like USA, UK, Russia, France, Spain, China, Japan, etc., they are all implementing more on this skill development. With this, I would like to conclude my speech, and I am standing with the motion. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Assalamu alaikum.
Now I like to invite Cadet Rafa of Mymensingh Girls Cadet College to make a presentation against the motion.
Suppose we've finally accomplished time travel, and now 1916 and 2023 have merged. Well, I'm a university receptionist. I'm sorry, Mr. Einstein, but we can't give you physics or mathematics because my dearest opponent have already shredded down the faculty because he supports employability over what we like. I'm so sorry, but you can keep your theory of relativity in your pocket, and we can call you back maybe after 50 years later when we have sense in our minds and a new trend. Well, you can take IT sectors, you can take ICT instead of physics or mathematics. Most Honorable Moderator, thank you for giving me the floor. Let me start with a very strong fact before I get in. According to UNHRC Human Rights Act, Article 10, all humans have the right to expression and expressing their feelings. Protocol 1, Article 2, all human beings have the right to education, and thus when both are merged together, all human beings have the right to education while expressing their feelings, and thus have the right to educate themselves of the type of education they like and they prefer. So, from the start, Honorable Moderator, my dearest opponent have chosen a flawed viewpoint. So, what is the point of university, my learned opponent? I'd like to ask you that. Let me redefine, as clearly you're having problems understanding the key factors here. Universities were made as conventional degree-based education for higher studies. And I'd like to state that people go to universities to solely participate in higher studies and gather knowledge, rather than being an employee of a job factory. Universities were not made to make you an employee, and definitely it's not a job-providing vocational factory. Well, my dearest opponent, as my first speaker of the opposition team has said, if everyone were coders, multinational businessmen, IT specialists, then where would writers, teachers, musicians would go? Without a teacher, would you even stand here, my dear opponent? I'd like to make you realize that 85 million teachers are out there around the world, or according to World Bank. My dearest opponent, once again I'd like to mention that there are 7 million musicians out there, according to Quora.com. And it's not about the fact of employability. Rather, they're all self-employed. You're making basis on the fact of employability, but why come to the factor of employability? It's the 21st century, my dear opponent, and not only universities are the only way to state employability. So, I'm not denying that employability is an important factor, but that does not prove that a high rate of skills and employability is going to control the world. My dearest opponent, you've confined our educational sector within just a few subjects. I'd like to mention that 6,000 doctors, according to Protomalo.com, roam freely in Bangladesh. And when they were medical students, they gave the exam ahead with the question papers given 1 month prior. I don't think you're realizing the more you put force, you've held your youth at gunpoint for crucially going into this sector and this sector only. This is not going to create employability. Rather, it's going to give them a hunger to strive for only that job and that job only. This will drive them to insanity, and they will do anything and everything to achieve that goal. And that is what creates corruption, my dear opponent. My dearest opponent, you've mentioned that Qazi Nazrul Islam was uneducated. Well, I'd like to stand a point here, but since you have gone out of topic, I'll say it anyway. You read books written by Qazi Nazrul Islam. Your education is based on the poems of Qazi Nazrul Islam. I think it's quite disrespectful to say his vocabulary was mistaken. So, my dearest opponent, I think you've confused yourself with emotion, because clearly your motion has sang the same song, which is skill-based economy. But skill-based economy does not come from coding, IT sectors, engineers, and ICT specialists only. Sorry for your kind information, my dear opponent. Skill comes mainly, according to MIT, 60% of skill-based employability states come from humanity-based subjects. Yes, subjects such as sociology, subjects such as psychology. Yes, my dearest opponent. So it is not about the job market or dynamics. We, as a state, must move. And this skill-based employability, this skill-based education system is not going to work. With this, I'd like to conclude here. Thank you.
Now I'd like to invite Maisha Tasneem, the team leader for the motion, and she is from Mainamati English School and College, Cumilla.
Once a great writer, Shukanta Bhattacharya said that the world is prosaic in the state of hunger, and the full moon is like a scorched bird. Honorable Moderator, respected judges, and the fellow opponents. Thank you, Honorable Moderator, for giving me the floor. As the third speaker of the team supporting the motion, I'll at first summarize our team's case and explain the third parameter given by my first speaker. But at first, let me explain how the opposition was wrong. First of all, we are talking about the regular trend in education that the universities should follow. And you are talking about Einstein. Einstein was in the 1960s or in the 1910s, so which is of course not relevant. Now, you have given an example of Einstein which is quite not logical, and my first speaker has already mentioned that we will focus on development goals, for which we need to focus on soft skills and technical skills. The first speaker of the opposition team has said that we are focusing on social skills, but actually we are focusing on soft skills, not social skills. And the second speaker of the opposition team also said about Qazi Nazrul Islam. We did not disrespect him. We are reading books of him because he was also skilled in language. Language is one of the most soft skills known in the whole world. We are focusing on the skills that helps us in developing our economy, growth, and knowledge. We are not saying that we will permanently not focus on the things that are like doctorate or engineering. We are saying that until we develop our country for the SDGs and Vision of 2041, till then we need to focus more on economy, which will also help us in our education later. Now, let me go to the third parameter, because my first speaker and second speaker has already the first two parameters. The third parameter was that achievement of the future goals of Vision 2041. By these future goals, we are meeting the goals that we would achieve, which are Smart Bangladesh Vision 2041, Sustainable Development Goals proposed by the United Nations, and lastly, the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Now, first of all, what are the goals and aims of the Smart Bangladesh Vision 2041 proposed by the government of Bangladesh? Its main purpose is to attain a smart citizen, smart economy, smart society, and a smart government. And to achieve them, our main focus should be on eradicating extreme poverty, getting upper middle class status and the status of a high income nation by 2041, according to FAO's perspective plan of Bangladesh. And how to expect that we can get this development in our economy, education in a society without even focusing on our economy? And my first speaker has already explained that we are talking about the public universities. In the public universities, the limited resources for education is very limited. So of course the students cannot focus, cannot get the facilities. Because of which, even if they graduate somehow, they need to do other skill courses which gets them to being a doctor. So how is that relevant, my dear opponents? Now, let's talk about the 17 Sustainable Development Goals proposed by the UN in 2015. We all know that these goals are revolving around the sustainable development of a country, and the key issues of which are the fourth goal, which reminds of us quality education, and the ninth goal, which is a sustainable economy. And we can only ensure it when our citizens are employability related with an effective education, which can only be ensured when you are focusing on education that is skill-based, because without a skill-based education, we can never increase our economical status. Now, let's move to the fourth industrial revolution. This industrial revolution aims on economic growth, long-term learning and skills, and sustainability of a country. Now, so what is common among all these goals that we're talking about is the economic growth that is rapidly needed for achieving them. And how we do that? By giving our students an education that makes them proficient in the field of their own professions, by increasing their employability. But unfortunately, Honorable Moderator, only 14% of students in Bangladesh graduate with technical qualifications, while the 86% only has a general qualification, which eventually decreases employability. And in this way, our students' knowledge are being decreased, and also our economy is getting more decreased. Our GDPs are getting lacking, and we need to fix it as soon as possible. Now, let me summarize our parameters. The first parameter was that ensuring a skill-based youth, which has been explained by the first parameter. Let me give an example, Honorable Moderator. Kairan Kazi, a software engineer, got a job in SpaceX and graduated by the age of 14 because he was skilled in computer science and engineering, which provided him with employability. And anyone, even if they're of the age of 24, can get these skills and get this opportunity if they are getting natural skills. Honorable Moderator, let us move to the second parameter explained by my second speaker. Honorable Moderator, a theory by British economist John Keynes proves that when people are employed, they will have money to spend on goods and services, which will spur businesses to new economies, to new jobs. Now, let's proceed to a third parameter, which was explained by myself. For example, suppose we are a fruit, the goals and aims that we're talking about are the fruits of a tree. But to even get that tree to grow, we first need to plant a seed. And the seed is we'll get to plant a seed only when we'll agree with today's topic. And that's why I hope you all agree with this motion and topic. Thank you. Thank you all.
Now I'd like to invite Cadet Tazria to make her presentation against the motion.
Learned opponents, imagine a world where universities only teach subjects that promise high employability. Well, it might look like something like this. The Department of Ice Cream Tasting, because clearly we do need professional ice cream tasters for the world to be running. Well, jokes aside, it's essential to recognize that education is about more than chasing the flavor of the month in the job sectors. Most honorable moderator, respected panel judges, learned opponents, greetings. Today I welcome you to this side of this house where me and my team are firmly standing against today's motion. But before I come to my own arguments, honorable moderator, I'd like to start with some shortcomings of my opponents. The first speaker mentioned that they want to prioritize degrees that align with current job market demands. But learned opponent, how are you going to account to the fact that job markets are rapidly evolving, the trends are rapidly changing, and what's highly employable today will not be highly employable tomorrow? And I guess that is known to you, as your first speaker has already mentioned. But the thing that might be new to you is an article published in 9 June 2023 in snm24.com, which says that according to World Economic Forum, 65% of children who are entering the primary school today will will have jobs that do not even exist today. And so instead of gun pointing your children with only the trendy subjects, you should be encouraging them to pursue their passion, develop varied skills, and make them more adaptable to the changing job market. And my learned opponent, I want to request you that you should try to analyze the motion on your favor. You have been speaking for the last 25 minutes on our favor. I'm sorry, but I think you should try it again. Now, the first speaker has already mentioned they have vaguely tried to emphasize the importance of properly implementing the students for gainful employment, but we should remember that the sole purpose of universities is that extends beyond vocational training. And according to Chris Lee's paper on the artstechnica.com, it stated that universities cannot fulfill the myth and they cannot become vocational training school. You've mentioned that we need to develop the skills of our students through universities, but they cannot become vocational training institutions, learned opponents. And according to Allison Academy's report on child development, the main purpose of education is to provide the opportunities for acquiring knowledge and skills that will enable proper people to develop their full potential and become successful people of the society. So limiting education to only high employability may undermine these goals. And you suggest that you don't advocate for abandoning liberal arts or less employable factors completely, but you look for a balance. But I want to mention again that today's motion implies on a one-sided approach. Shining chairs. Some of the most significant innovations come from interdisciplinary approaches and unconventional thinking. For example, biotechnology and computer science gave birth to bioinformatics and genetics, and narrowing university learning to high employabilities, and narrowing university learning to subjects that give us high employability ignores the importance of diverse fields. If university only taught us subjects that give us high employability, that we would never have Steve Jobs, learned opponents. Steve Jobs was a college dropout, and he combined calligraphy and technology to revolutionize the personal computing. And then Apple would be a fruit-selling company. Now imagine if we ignored all these unconventional thinkers and interdisciplinary pioneers throughout the history, that we would miss on all the revolutionary innovations. That's like saying, sorry, Mr. Darwin, you cannot explore your theory of evolution because we don't see a job sector for that. And according to the United States Bureau of Economic Analysis, reported that arts and cultural production contribute 8.77 billion in the U.S. economy in 2007, and they represent 4.5% of the nation's GDP. My dear opponent, you're saying that we should not study these subjects, but clearly you have not seen the clear contribution that these subjects have. Just imagine a world without artists or graphic designers, just a bunch of folks in the coffee shop discussing about spreadsheets and PowerPoint presentation. Pretty thrilling, right? Well, we do acknowledge the importance of financial stability, but it's not the sole purpose of education. It's like saying we should only eat vegetables because they are healthy. While true, a diet of only broccoli would be bland and unfulfilling. Education should nourish the mind and spirit, not the bank account. On this very note, I'd like to conclude my speech here. Thank you, honorable moderators. Thank you, everyone.
Now the time for refutation of the argument. I call upon Maisha Tasneem, team leader, to refute the arguments for the motion.
I think my position is being a bit delusional today because, first of all, we have already been mentioning once and again that we are not neglecting the basic topics that are being taught in schools and colleges already. We're just saying that university is a time when you have only 4 years to study. In that time, students should learn how to implement their own ideas, their own perspectives, their own professionals to be skilled on them. And that is why we're talking about skill-based learning. Now, they have mentioning it again and again that if we are making it permanent, that we will be always on this skill-based education. But no, we will just implement it till we gain these SDG goals, the vision of 2041. When we're economically stable, on that time only we will be able to implement all these things in our education. Because, for example, I have already said that when a doctor is graduating from a public university, he doesn't get all the facilities. He cannot implement his his things practically. He hasn't learned it properly. In that case, he has to already gain another skill course like any other degrees for implementing it in his profession, for which we need to at first implement and enforce our economical status and make it better, but first. Only then we can be able to focus on other factors. Now, they have been mentioning that we are not focusing on the innovative and artist ideas, but we have already saying that students are already learning it at schools and colleges. So why are you still being saying it again and again, my dear opponents? Now I want to make you my first speaker has already given you some questions, but sadly my opposition have not been able to answer it. My second speaker has also given some questions, but they are not been able to answer it too. Now, I want to give one question. Do you think that what China did by shutting down their universities and colleges in the 1960s to 70s for carrying 2.284 billion users was wrong? Do you really think that? I hope your answer will be no, because it's actually not. So with that, I'd like to conclude my speech. Thank you. Thank you all.
Now may I call upon Cadet Tazria, the team leader of Mymensingh Girls Cadet College, to refute the arguments against the motion.
Thank you, Honorable Moderator, for giving me the floor once again. So, now the opponents, I want to ask you, did you actually analyze today's motion? Honorable Moderator, I thought the rules clearly stated that you cannot speak on the behalf of the opposition's favor, but you were speaking on our favor for this whole time. Your topic never mentioned skill-based education. My learned opponent, you are for the motion. Your motion says universities should only teach subjects that have a high percentage of employability. Do you actually understand what the motion says? I don't think you understand. You have mentioned soft skills more than 20 times. You have mentioned soft skills 20 times, and you have said that we cannot take part in skill courses in our country. Who is stopping you from taking part? Am I stopping you from taking part in skill courses? Who is stopping you? Go and take part in skill courses. Nobody is stopping you. You're saying that Bangladesh is a third world country. We cannot implement well education in our population, and you're telling me that the first world countries this and they did that. But if first world countries can implement the education well, you have to remember they are first world countries and we are third world countries. If first world countries cannot have a benefit from implementing only the subjects that give high rate of employment, then how can a country like Bangladesh, which is a third world country, can get benefited from that? Well, first speaker, nobody wanted to know who was the leader of who, and you went off topic, and you have mentioned our point on Kazi Nazrul Islam and Rabindranath Tagore. And if university did teach subjects that focus on high rate of employability, then we would never have Rabindranath Tagore, who is the universal poet, and we would never have Kazi Nazrul Islam, my learned opponents. Well, nowhere in the motion it was confined in Bangladesh. I would like to clear it out to you. With this, I'd like to conclude my speech here. Thank you, Honorable Moderator. Thank you, everyone.
Now this is a time for us to wait for the result. Meanwhile, I'd like to say it's my profound opportunity to congratulate all of you for and against the motions. All the participants are so active, energetic, and prolific and profound for their presenting their arguments for the motion, against the motion. Both the parties are really amazing to me. I like to really congratulate all of you. And you know that universities is a big concept, it is a big dilemma to go for huge impetus for a motion or for the motion or against the motion to speak out huge amount of things. But definitely understand what is the real happening in the whole globe as well, Bangladesh as well. So the percentage unemployment rate is very high in Bangladesh, you said 4.09. And of course, definitely, you know, we need to have different subjects. I don't mention like that what are the necessary subjects that we have to choose for the universities, but you have to find the ways how we can improve the situation of the quality of education and how we can move forward to choose the subjects that we can take benefit from those subjects to benefit the country and the globe as large. So I have now results in my hand. Winner team of today, Mymensingh Girls Cadet College, Mymensingh. Okay, now I am very happy to declare the best speaker's name. She is Cadet Azreen of Mymensingh Girls Cadet College. So congratulations to all of you who took part in this debate competition organized by Bangladesh Television Chattogram Center. This is the first inter-school English debate competition 2023. This is the quarter round final. So again, I'd like to offer my heartiest thanks to all of you, to all the viewers, to all the respected judges and all the listeners. Thank you very much.